Welcome. This video is a quick introduction to the Redlands Historical Timeline. The timeline is a web-based presentation on the history of the city of Redlands, done in ESRI StoryMap format. It combines text by Redlands historian Tom Atchley with historical photos and maps. It is an ongoing project of the Redlands Area Historical Society, RAHS. A link to the timeline can be found on their website, rahs.org. The timeline can be viewed using any internet browser. It works best, though, with the larger screen of a desktop, laptop, or tablet computer. Scroll down from the initial screen to view the introductory text. Note the fixed navigation bar that settles in at the top of the screen. From wherever you are in the timeline, it allows jumping directly to the What's New section. The table of contents. The beginning of the timeline text. The acknowledgements section. Or back to the introduction. The simplest way to view the timeline is to scroll down past the table of contents and view the entries sequentially. The first entries discuss the Native Americans living in the San Bernardino Valley in the early 1800s. Guachama village is estimated to have had 200 to 500 inhabitants. Note the text underlined in red. These are clickable links that change the map display. In this case, they show the village location on a current map or through a current aerial view. A second click restores the original map panel. Scrolling down further, we reach the mission period, where Spanish padres from the San Gabriel Mission established an outpost in the San Bernardino Valley, and guided the local Native Americans in the digging of an irrigation canal called the Zanja. That water source would play an important role in the later development of the city of Redlands. Early Redlanders would name the channel the Sankey. Note that many of the pictures can be enlarged by clicking on them. A second click returns them to normal. Also note that a photo source can usually be identified using the eye icon in the upper left corner of the photo. Scrolling down to 1842, we have the arrival of the Lugo family and the creation of Rancho San Bernardino, which filled the San Bernardino Valley with cattle and horses, all the way up into present-day Yucaipa. Note that Antonio Maria Lugo's name is underlined in red. It is a clickable link to his biography on Wikipedia, which opens in a new browser tab. Biographical links like these are found throughout the timeline, although they more typically bring up biographies on the RAHS website. While it's possible to view the entire timeline by simply scrolling down, a more practical way is to use the table of contents to jump to a specific time period of interest. Here we jump to 1870. The rancho is gone and scattered settlements are forming in the area that will become Redlands. Among the early settlers is Israel Beale, an emancipated slave who would go on to become a valued and respected member of the early Redlands community. Scrolling down to 1876, sees the arrival of Edward Judson and Frank Brown, who would soon become the founders of the city of Redlands. Jumping ahead to the 1880 to 1884 time period, brings up the details of their efforts in that regard, and an early bird's-eye view map of their plan for the city. Note that, as with all the timeline maps, an icon in the upper right corner allows the map to be enlarged to fill the screen. The same icon restores it to its normal size. Note also the many map links that can be used to bring up a variety of old maps of the area. Here's a timeline entry that mentions Israel Beale planting a 160-acre vineyard for another early Redlands pioneer, Dr. Jacob Stillman. The vineyard appears on the bird's-eye map, and also on an old 1886 map of early Redlands. Checking the current map view shows the area is now part of the University of Redlands. Another jump through the table of contents to 1885 catalogs events associated with the founding years of the city. Another bird's-eye view map shows how rapidly it is coming together. Note the icons in the lower right corner of all the timeline maps. They can be used to zoom in and out, or return to the default home view. Scrolling down to 1886 brings us to the entry for the opening of the Terrace Villa Hotel. Note the link to the 1892 Sanborn map. The highly detailed Sanborn maps were produced for fire insurance purposes and provide a uniquely close-up view of the early city. They have been painstakingly digitized by Chris Olson and are a valuable addition to the timeline. We'll end our introduction to the timeline here, but returning to the table of contents shows we have only covered a fraction of its scope. The timeline is actually made up of 3 story maps, the first covering 1800 through 1899, the second covering 1900 through 1999, and the third covering the year 2000 through the present. All can be directly accessed through the table of contents. Thank you for your interest in the Redlands Historical Timeline story maps. We hope you will enjoy using them to explore Redlands' rich history.